Hi, I just wanted to make a quick video. If you want to start TIG welding and you think, yeah, I'll have a go at that, but you don't really know what the cost is, I just thought I'd do this quick video. I'll assume you've come from a non-welding background, so all these consumables are stuff that you're going to have to buy. But if you're coming from MIG welding or other welding, then you'll have some of this stuff. But this is what it would cost if you were starting from scratch. So what do you need? First of all, you need a TIG welder. Now, this is probably the cheapest one you can get. It's a Hitbox 2000. It's round about 100 English pounds. It's DC only, and there's no pedal, but it will get you started. It comes with the WP17 torch. I've taken the big bulky handle off it because the trigger was here, and I found it easier to move it to the thumb for when I need to use it. This will come with one tungsten tip, which I found not very helpful. I don't know what the quality of the tungsten in it was, but it didn't seem to flare up very well. And it comes with a bunch of these little cups in different sizes, but it will get you going. It will make you start, and it comes with a decent clamp, plenty of length in the cabling. Next thing you'll need, gas bottle. Now, you can get them in various sizes. This is a 20-litre gas bottle. It's the biggest one you can get on a hobby gas, and then before you go into the bigger supplies. So let's say you're going to go for a hobby one. Smaller gas bottles I found I ran through quite quickly. This one's the 20-litre one. Now, when you buy the bottles, you have to buy the bottle itself, which was £110, and then you want it filled, which costs another £139. So you're looking, when you walk in there, depending on where you go, Wilco's I got this, you're looking at £250 for your initial layout to get your gas bottle. So £100 for the machine, £250 for your gas bottle. Regulators, you can get round about £35. Have a dual one, because one will tell you what the pressure is inside the tank, and it normally goes up round about the 230, 250 mark on there. And then your CFH, which is your gas coming out of your gun, is regulated on here. How much do you use? Because I wanted to make a set of stainless steel exhausts for my old motorcycle, I mainly practiced in stainless steel, and that runs round about 15 to 20 CFH. So you can rinse through a lot of gas in practicing, which I did. And I'm about 90 hours into practice at the moment. So that's how much those bottles are. Next thing you'll need is more than one tungsten tip that comes with your torch. And that's where I bought a pack of 10, because trust me, you will get so frustrated in either sticking to your material or dabbing it in the pool of the rod, and it just infuriates you. If you haven't to undo it all, go and sharpen it, come back and fit it again. So a pack of 10 certainly gets you out of a lot of trouble. There again, a pack of these 10 is round about the £15 mark. What else will you need? Well, you'll need a helmet. This is a true colour helmet, and these start round about £100, but you can get the ordinary cheaper ones for about £20, which are the green glassed ones. They do a great job. You can weld with them. True colour certainly makes life a lot easier, especially when you're trying to see the glow of the metal going down. I'll come back to gas in a minute, because depending on the material that you're using, depends on how much gas you'll use. Another thing that's really helpful to have is a little wire brush to clean up your material, and also some welding pliers. As you can see, I've obviously come from a different background in welding and so forth, but they're the basic things that you will need to get up and running. Another one is gloves. Nice soft gloves for TIG welding. Something there, because you're holding the small torch and the filler rod is really small. So a pair of gloves here will set you back around about 10-15 pounds. I go for the gauntlet ones because you tend to rest your forearm, and I just prefer, if it does get hot or there's a discarded end piece of a rod, I really don't want to put my forearm on it. So I go for the longer ones, but shorter ones are fine as well. It's just, you'll find your way. So what else do we need? Filler rods. Now filler rods come in different thicknesses and different lengths. You can buy them in 300 lengths, so 300 mil lengths. The thing that I found with that is you end up with a lot of waste, because once it starts getting down to about there, you're in the heat zone now. Stop trying to poke this in, and so you'll run through a lot of these, and then you're going to have a lot of these end bits lying around. So it's not really the most economic way to get your rods. So I normally buy them in 1 meter lengths, and you can buy them in half kilos or in a full kilo. A full kilo costs you about £65, or you can get a half kilo, which will cost you around about the £35 mark. That way you can just cut them in half, and then you've only got half the shortage. Or depending on what you're actually doing, if you've got the room and you quite like the idea of this thing wiggling about behind you, then yeah, use a whole rod. But I found that the cheapest way to go is buy them in 1 meter lengths, not in the shorter 300s. Rods. So stainless steel rods, you can see there. There is the brazing rods, and there is the mild steel rods. So there's different rods for different applications, and if you're going to try all of them, then you're going to need a pack of all of them. If you're only going to try it and see if you like it, then maybe the 300 rods will be the way to go. But if you find something you specifically want to do, then go for the longer rods, because you'll need the practice. If you haven't got really good ventilation, then I would get a mask as well, because some of this stuff gives off some pretty nasty gas. Not totally necessary, but I think was a really good buy at £60, is this welding table top by Spider. It's 600 mil by 600 mil. It's got the 16 mil holes here, and it's great for putting your workpiece on. You can see I have the clamping at the back, so my material just goes on here and I can start welding. It's really, really good. I can't sing its praises enough. And then I just put it on 4 corners with some angle iron, just to take it off the top of the table, just to get more heat away from what I'm working on. Now you need something to practice with. For me, I wanted to do stainless steel, so I bought 1 meter lengths of exhaust stainless steel tube. The 1 meter length was around about £25. And then what I did, I ended up cutting them into 50mm segments, and then welding 2 segments together as my practice piece, and then I welded the 2 twos together, and then so on and so forth. You get where I'm going. So that was a really good way of practicing. Another way you can do it is by some tubing. Same again, cut it into different lengths so you can practice. I quite enjoyed this way of practicing my welding. Cut it up, make something arty-farty, but it just helps you. That's terrible, look at that. Early days. So you can see that it's a good way to practice. Same thing with the square tubing, and then making tops. That way you're using different skills, you're welding different thicknesses of material. So this is 1mm thick, these tops, but the actual tubing was 1.5. So it was interesting to work with that, and then cut different things and weld different things, rather than just keep running beads down on a flat piece of metal, because man, that's boring. So if you're trying to make something, at least you're trying to be inventive as well, and learning a different skill set rather than just running beads down, which you do need to practice. The other thing I did and you'll see it there, is there are some companies on some of these auction websites and so forth that sell their offcuts. So you can buy it by the kilo. So you can buy 10 kilos, 20 kilos, 50 kilos of scrap metal. And the way that I found with that is some of it's 2 mil, some of it's 3, some of it's 1. They're all different shapes and sizes, but then you can cut it to make other stuff. But it's good to practice with different thicknesses, and that way you will use your different thicknesses of rods as well, to see how to dial in your machine to cope with all of those things. So as far as I can see on my little list there, that's about it. That comes in round about £550 just for that basic setup with a really basic low end, bottom end TIG welder. What have I learned? In hindsight, I wish I'd spent a bit more money on the TIG welder and got one with a pedal, because now I'm about 80-90 hours in to practice. I can now see where I need to reduce heat or put more heat in, which you can do with a pedal which alternates the voltage. But saying that, that's done me proud. That's done me really, really well. Could I have bought a second-hand one at that price? Not with a pedal, I don't think. So if your budget can go up and you can get a better machine, then I think the Hitbox, the cheapest one they do, is around about £250 with a pedal. And it's AC as well. So DC, I cannot weld, shamefully, I cannot weld, well, you might be able to, but I can't, aluminium. So I'm missing out there, so obviously I've got to go for an upgrade. But I hope this has helped you to see the basics of what you need and what your initial outlay might well be if you go, right, I wouldn't mind testing or having a go at TIG welding. Honestly, if this has helped, I'm really pleased. If I'm teaching you how to suck eggs, then I do apologise. Cheers.